Yo, who the f*** is MattCMG?
So, the year is circa 2010, and you're listening to the radio in the backseat of your mom's Ford Explorer, and you hear a song and you think, gee willikers, this sure is swell, I do be loving this song. I cannot wait for this artist to have a successful and lengthy career. Fast forward to present year, and nobody remembers who the hell Taio Cruz is. What it do, paisanos? It's a me, MattCMG, and if this has ever happened to you, then chances are that you've stumbled upon a forgotten artist. Due to how the music scene has worked and changed over the years, there have been many artists who have risen to prominence for a very brief time, but for one reason or another, fell into obscurity. But this is not to be confused with one-hit wonders. Rather, we're talking about artists who had multiple hit songs and were considered the big artists of their time, but simply were unable to keep that level of popularity. So like, not quite one-hit wonders, but like, you know, 2-hit wonders, or 3-hit wonders, you know, multi-hit wonders, is that even a thing? I think at that point that's just a successful artist, but you know, you get the idea. Let me put it this way, right? You know, all one-hit wonders are considered forgotten artists, but not all forgotten artists are one-hit wonders. You know what I'm talking about? Just like, it's like Thumbs. Shout out to Thumbs. Hey guys, I'm Steve Thumb, I'm gay. Now, I am a late bloomer zoomer with a big fat tumor and a dumb sense of humor, so my knowledge of music history only goes so far back, which is also to say that my taste in music is horrible and I should not be taken seriously in any music discussion whatsoever. But in my opinion, the early 2010s were probably the most interesting time for music, at least as far as pop music goes. There was so much variety in what constituted a hit song during this time, and the internet was also rising to prominence, which allowed for smaller, unknown indie artists to have a chance in the limelight. The general culture of the time also created a pop scene that was very focused on club bangers and party anthems, with a major electronic and dubstep influence. Hip-hop was also becoming very popular around this time, like more so than it already had been. We were starting to see a shift in what people wanted, so we got a pretty good mix of everything, and because there were so many genres dominating the charts, we also started to see a lot of experimentation with mixing genres, some of which worked, some of which didn't. Today, we'll be taking a look at artists that grew to prominence during this time, but for one reason or another are no longer around or are not nearly as popular as they once were. Now, this will by no means be a comprehensive list or even really a very intelligent list, since this is more so based on my personal experiences with this stuff as, you know, listening to it growing up as a kid. So at the end of this video, please comment down below who your favorite forgotten artists are, and maybe I'll include them in a part 2 to this if I ever do a part 2. You guys want me to talk about Taio Cruz? Because we could talk about Taio Cruz, we could talk about Sean Kingston, we could do all that shit. So smash that motherfucking like button, or I'll make you a one-hit wonder by making you wonder how I smashed your head in one hit! And let's get into it. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know. So let's start this one off by heading down south to Florida. Or should I say, Flo Rida. If you laughed at that, you should probably consider dying. In the late 2000s to early 2010s, it seemed like you could not go a second without hearing at least one song from Flo Rida. It seemed like at least once a year, there'd be at least one new big pop hit that was either by him or featuring him in some capacity. Now, I personally always associate Flo Rida with my family vacation to Florida in 2012. Not because of the name thing, although that is part of it, but rather because, for whatever reason, the rental car we were in was somehow only capable of playing like 5 songs on repeat for 2 days straight. Like, this wasn't an iPod, like I guess just whatever radio station this rental car happened to have access to only had like 5 songs playing on it for some reason. I don't know. Like, I want you guys to imagine for 2 days straight listening to nothing but Good Feelin' by Flo Rida and Crazy Bitch by Buck Cherry on repeat. Crack, I was like 12 years old. I should not have been listening to that shit. Hey, you're a crazy bitch. Did I do a crazy bitch joke in the fucking fish tank video? Anyways, my point is, Flo Rida has had numerous hits. From 2007 to 2012, Flo Rida released 7 hit songs that broke the top 10 in the Billboard charts, plus like a million more that did less well, but were still nothing to scoff at. You had his breakout hit Low featuring T-Pain. You got them apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur, You had Right Round featuring Kesha, Club Can't Handle Me featuring David Guetta, Good Feelin', Wild Ones, Whistle, I Cry. This dude was a certified hitmaker. And I think part of the appeal was how simple they all were. were. While most rappers at the time were focused on wordplay, flow, and clever bars, Flo Rida instead opted for simple bars that were intended to create a fun vibe more than anything else. And he was pretty good at that, since all of those songs that I just listed, and then some, were all very fun songs. I couldn't tell you a single bar from literally any of them, but they were very fun nonetheless. Ironically enough, despite his name being Flo Rida, I cannot tell you a single one of his flows either. Like, you know like Migos. Migos has like a very specific flow. They're like da 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 ad-lib da 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 ad-lib. But Flo Rida, I don't even know a single flow. He's like ba ba da ba da ba 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 ba. I think it might be it. That's like the only flow he might have. I don't even really know. Like, I hate to say it, but his songs were so mindless that I don't remember fucking any of them outside of the choruses. This dude was putting out hit after hit. So where is he now? Why do we not hear from Flo Rida? Oh, get it? He's Flo Rida because he like rides the flow of the beat of the bars. Well, after his hit song My House in 2015, he would essentially fall off the face of the earth, at least as far as success in the music industry goes. He has been releasing singles pretty consistently in the years since, but none of them have really found any success, even at the level of his worst performing hits. On top of that, his last full album was in 2012, and though he has been promising a new project over the years, at this point, there's no way it's gonna live up to the hype, if there even is any at all. Like, I don't think I know a single person who was like, yeah, dude, I'm really excited for that new Flo Rida album, dude. Like, to me, Flo Rida is so synonymous with, like, hit single party songs that I don't think I've ever heard the words Flo Rida and album in the same sentence together. I think the simplest answer for Flo Rida's fall off is that his style of pop rap has simply just gone out of style. By 2015, pop rap with an EDM influence was out the door and was quickly being replaced by trap. And with the internet having made its mark on the music industry by this point as well, it made sense that the definition of what constituted a hit song was becoming much broader. Flo Rida just had too specific and too outdated of a sound to compete with all this new stuff that was coming out in the mid-2010s, so there just wasn't really a market for him anymore. And you know what? Honestly, I hope we could hear the Flo Rida come back. You know, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for you, Flo Rida. For our next topic, let's head east. Far East. Far East Movement was an Asian American electronic hip-hop group consisting of members Kev Nish, Progress, J Spliff, and DJ Vermin, who found mainstream success in the 2010s. They originally made it big with their song Girls on the Dance Floor in 2009. However, their biggest hit that would define their careers wouldn't be released until a year later. Like a G6 is undoubtedly the most successful song that Far East Movement has ever put out, with over 300 million views on YouTube, 750 million streams on Spotify, and peaked at #1 on the Billboard Top 100, going double platinum, which was extremely impressive for a relatively unknown group at the time. This song was all over the place in 2010. It was in every school dance, it was being played in every club, it was on every pop station. It was huge.
I'm Donald Trump, and I say Like a G6 is quite possibly huge. I'm gay.
And listening to it today, you can totally see why. It's catchy, it's got a great beat produced by the Cataracts, there's that sample from Dev that people don't know is a sample, the music video was peak 2010s party culture, and there really aren't many club bangers that sound quite like it. I rate this one a certified boner jam. They were able to quickly capitalize on the success not long after with their next song, Rocketeer, a song that was a complete tonal shift from G6, but still found similar levels of success, peaking at #7 on Billboard. While G6 was more of a party song, Rocketeer was more of an introspective love song. It was kind of weird how they just completely switched up their vibe and it still worked. I remember YouTubers would parody this one a lot for whatever reason back in the day. It was pretty great. I remember when parodies were like viable. That was sick. Shout out to parodies. Oh, and fun fact about Rocketeer, the hook is sung by Ryan Tedder from One Republic, but was originally performed by Bruno Mars, and for whatever reason he dropped out. It stands to reason the Bruno Mars version is significantly better. When these two songs blew up, Far East Movement began collaborating with artists like Snoop Dogg and Bruno Mars, and would open for artists like Rihanna and Lady Gaga. These guys were on track to become massive. But fast forward today, and I could not tell you a single song from these guys other than these two. Well, I can, and I'm about to. You'll see in a moment, but you get the idea. They are no longer really culturally relevant. Despite being incredibly popular with two back-to-back hits, Far East Movement would fall into relative obscurity. They had a couple of mild successes post-Rocketeer, such as their songs Dirty Bass and Live My Life, but nothing at the level of G6. Their most recent success was a collaboration between them, Marshmello, Chanyeol, and Tinashe with their song Free of Love, which is sitting at a very impressive 47 million views on YouTube, and I assume a similar number on Spotify. I didn't check because I'm lazy, but fuck you. But considering how many artists were also involved in this song, and the fact that I had never heard of it before doing research for this video, would you really call it a success? Like, I have no idea who Chanyeol is, but based on the comments on the music video, it's very clear that a lot of the K-pop people are there for them, not Far East Movement, whose upload of that exact same song is only sitting at 175,000 views. Though the group has remained somewhat active by releasing singles pretty consistently in collaboration with other artists, they have not dropped a proper project since 2016 due to the departure of J-Spliff from the group. And after 2020, they just kinda stopped putting stuff out. In current year, you would be hard-pressed to find anybody going crazy for Far East Movement. Based on their Twitter history, it seems like they're dedicating their time and using their following to promote smaller K-pop artists, which is cool and all, but it seems like there's never going to be another like a G6. That song is honestly just so unique and so emblematic of the time that it came out in that I really don't think you can really come out with anything like it. It's one of a kind, and shout out to Far East Movement for their fucking... Shout out to them. I can't wait for their sequel, Like a G7, featuring Redman. Of course, obviously Redman would want to be involved in this. Yeah. Do you guys know that Method Man and Redman were the Pixies and Fairly Odd Parents? We're Pixies, and they sucking our dixies. What are we doing? As you've probably guessed by now, the turn of the decade was a bit of a weird transitional period for hip hop, at least as far as mainstream popularity goes. The genre was starting to get a lot more airplay on regular radio stations than it was before. The Atlanta hip hop sound was starting to really gain prominence, and in the case of our next topic, was starting to blend with other already popular genres. A ton of pop hits of this era randomly had a rapper just included in the third verse for no reason, but we were also starting to see rock having influences on hip-hop. And I think one of the best examples of this is Kevin Rudolf.
Hi, Kevin.
Though he had been making music for over a decade at that point, in 2008, artist Kevin Rudolf released his hit song Let It Rock featuring Lil Wayne. This came about after Rudolf became the first white, non-hip-hop artist to be signed to Cash Money Records, which was also Tunechi's record label. Wayne hopped on the track, as he did with almost every popular song during this era, and using his popularity, propelled the song to hit number 5 on the Billboard Top 100. This song, I remember this song being an absolute banger when it came out. Like, I had like this old cheap MP3 player, and you can be damn sure that Let It Rock was on that fucking thing. 2 years later, the duo would collaborate yet again, this time alongside Birdman and Jay Sean, to drop I Made It, Cash Money Heroes, a fun party bop about success and reaching your dreams. Now, my personal experience with this song is that I distinctly remember this playing on a bus on like a school field trip to some like small kids resort thing when I was like 10. It was a core memory, not gonna lie. The two albums from which these two singles are from ended up doing decently well, and Rudolf had seemingly known that he had made it as an artist. So, not long after that, he stepped away from his own music and focused more on production for other artists. From 2009 to 2013, he would produce songs for artists like Cobra Starship, Hollywood Undead, Jesse McCartney, and even Big Time Rush, and would also continue his work with Cash Money Records with artists like Birdman and Tunechi.
Young Moolah, baby!
And he would even go on to work with country artists like Keith Urban. This dude had a pretty wide repertoire, doing pretty much any genre you could possibly think of. Rudolf would return to solo music in 2015 after his departure with Cash Money. However, as part of his contract, he could not release music under the name Kevin Rudolf. So instead, he decided to release music under the name Space Rock. Of course, nobody knows who the fuck that is. But even if you did and searched up like Kevin Rudolf Space Rock, all you would get were just like different versions of Let It Rock. Meaning the SEO absolutely killed this man's fucking career. Granted, it wasn't his fault, but you get the idea. Though he did return in 2024 with a new album under the Kevin Rudolf name, it did not do nearly as well as his other two albums. Kevin Rudolf is better known as a producer now than he was as a solo artist, and honestly, I think he'd be pretty cool with that. Now, not to speak for him or anything, but the whole point of I Made It and the whole To the Sky album was that you never truly do make it, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, like, okay, he made it by getting a hit song on the radio, but at that point, where do you go from there? In his case, he moves on to different things, thereby making it in different areas of life. Plus, Let It Rock is a song all about being unabashedly yourself and not compromising your morals in the face of success, and it seems like Kevin Rudolf did exactly that. He probably could have become a massive solo artist if he kept capitalizing on the success of his 2 big hits, but he chose not to in favor of more creatively fulfilling endeavors. So honestly, mad respect to him for that. Because when I arrive, I bring the fire, make you come alive. I can take you higher, what this say. In the vein of hip-hop, rock, fusion, or whatever the fuck you call it, you can't forget to mention gym class heroes. Well, I guess you can forget to mention them because this is the Forgotten Artists video, but you get the fucking idea. But in case you don't remember, Gym Class Heroes was a rap rock group from the early 2010s, led by frontman Travie McCoy. After joining Fall Out Boy's Fueled by Ramen record label, the group found major success with their hit single, Cupid's Chokehold, which featured Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy, skyrocketing them into the public eye. In the year of our Lord, 2006. The song went triple platinum, yet the album from which it's from, As Cruel as School Children, did not do nearly as well. Which is kind of a shame, because I actually really liked that album, like the one time I listened to it like 5 years ago. Wasn't terrible from what I recall. It wasn't until 2011 where they would find mainstream success with the release of their 5th album, The Papercut Chronicles 2, from which there were 3 singles. The Fighter, featuring Ryan Tedder, Ass Back Home, featuring Neon Hitch, and the one that I'm sure you're all probably familiar with, Stereo Hearts, featuring Adam Levine of Maroon 5.
My heart's a stereo, it beats for you, so listen close. Hear my thoughts in every throat. Uh-oh.
That's not the line, but I get I'm gay. Each of these songs went RIAA platinum at some point or another, with Ass Back Home going triple platinum and Stereo Hearts going 5 times platinum. The quintuple is fucking crazy. Almost 1.5 billion with a B streams on Spotify. That dwarfs literally everything else they have ever done. Gym Class Heroes were on top of the world with this many hits at the exact same time. So why don't we hear about them anymore? Well, in 2012, after the success of the album, the group decided to go on hiatus, which is quite possibly the dumbest thing they could have possibly done. Like, okay, like you had all of this success, you probably could have gone even harder, and hell, maybe even Travie could have used this to bolster his solo career, but no, they didn't do literally any of that. In the years since, the group has reunited a couple times to perform at various tours and festivals, and Travie McCoy would release a solo album in 2022. And honestly, it's not bad. He's a pretty decent rapper, the beats are all really good. Solid album. However, despite the inactivity from the group as a whole for almost a decade, Travie McCoy insists that the group has not broken up. They're still just on a hiatus. Considering it's been 14 years since their last project, I find that kinda hard to believe. But hey, crazier things have happened. Crazier comebacks have happened, right? And I can only hope that they're cooking up something good. Now, like I said, my knowledge of music history is very stupid and I should not be taken seriously, but at least in my experience, Gym Class Heroes were one of the first bands to really blend punk with rap in the way that they did. Like, the fact that they were able to blend these two genres together and find pop appeal is pretty crazy, and there isn't really any other band like them. However, I also think that's part of the problem. You know, because they blend two very different genres together, they can't always please everybody. You know, the hip-hop heads might like The Quilt, but hate the Papercut Chronicles, while the pop-punk fans out there might listen to them for the features and not for Travie's rapping. I think if they really niche down in one particular direction while still keeping the influences from the other, they could probably come out with some absolute bangers today that freaky white boys like me will eat the fuck up. He's a freaky white boy. And speaking of hip-hop, even though I think we've only exclusively done hip-hop in this fucking video so far, so I don't know, that wasn't really a great transition, but 2010 also saw the meteoric rise of rapper B.o.B, with the release of his debut album, The Adventures of Bobby Ray, which, might I say, has some of the hardest cover art of all time. Like, dude, this cover goes absolutely nutty, dude. That is heat. That's a bar. He first gained prominence with the 3 lead singles from the record, those being Nothing on You featuring Bruno Mars, Airplanes featuring Hayley Williams from Paramore, and Magic featuring Rivers Cuomo from Weezer.
Oh my god, it's Weezer! Ah!
The album reached number 1 on the Billboard Top 100 and went double platinum, making it a commercial success. It's hard to deny how invasive this album truly was, since at the time you could go on the radio at any time and probably have a good chance of hearing at least one of these 3 songs. Nothing on You is an absolute banger, and Airplanes is great as well. And I'm totally not just saying that because there's a Part 2 Squeakquel remix with Eminem on it, and I'm a white boy. Shout out to Whitey. That's not why I'm saying that, because that's the original song without Eminem is actually very good.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars?
However, that's about all the album has going for it. Despite having a few great tracks, the rest of the album is forgettable, generic, and really not all that impressive. And listen, right, I like Rivers Cuomo, I like Weezer and all, but like, dude, Magic is so fucking bad, I'm sorry. Like, it's so annoying. I've got the magic in me. That sounds really fucking gay, dude. I don't know how to break this to you. That sounds very gay. The only good thing that Magic has going for it is that the Rucka Rucka Ali homophobic parody of it was really funny back in the day. That's kind of it. Like, straight up. Now, regardless of my thoughts on the record, though, The Adventures of Bobby Ray was a massive commercial success, so B.o.B's follow-up, Strange Clouds, was pretty much destined for success. So Good is a good song, though I wouldn't say it's so good, and the title track, Strange Clouds with Lil Wayne, was pretty great as well. And with all the features on the album, with names like Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj, it had the star power to launch the album to number 5 on the Billboard Top 100. However, I think we have seen enough to establish a pattern here. B.o.B's most successful singles, his big pop hits, are all collaborations with other artists. Like, let's be real here. Nobody is listening to Nothing on You for B.o.B's flow. It's because of Bruno Mars's hook. B.o.B seemingly rose to the top by just riding the coattails of other artists. He is outclassed by pretty much every artist he's collabed with on the first 2 albums, so it stands to reason that as soon as he stepped away from the pop appeal and went in a more hip-hop direction, with rappers that were also outclassing him, he began to see a major drop in popularity. Like, I know this sounds really mean, but he was kind of the worst part of his own music. You know what I mean? To add insult to injury, nobody really takes the guy seriously anymore ever since he came out as a flat earther in 2016, which he notoriously revealed through a diss track that he made on Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, I'm saying in a race. If you came in second, you lost. You didn't just come in second.
In my book, if you come second, then you're a generous lover.
Very good.
It was a sex joke.
On top of this, he also openly believes in a lot of other conspiracy theories, many of which lean in the more anti-Semitic direction. And considering that he has been basically blacklisted from the entertainment industry since then, I'd say he kind of has a reason to believe that. Like, I don't think those conspiracies are true, but like, you're certainly not helping your own case by blacklisting the guy who doesn't like the Jews. At the end of the day, B.o.B made a pretty big impact early on, but it was never because he was actually that talented of an artist, but rather because he knew the right people at the right time and was able to capitalize on that. As soon as people realized that he wasn't actually that talented and was also generally crazy on top of that, they stopped giving him the time of day. While I do like some of his songs, B.o.B is nobody's favorite rapper, and will likely only be remembered for anything other than his music. I like some of the B.o.B songs. What the fuck he know about the Jews? So, those have been a few artists from circa 2010 that have seemingly been forgotten. Coincidentally, they all ended up being hip-hop adjacent. I didn't intend for that. That just kind of ended up happening. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Let me know what your favorite or least favorite forgotten artists are in the comments down below. And if I get enough of them, maybe I'll make a part 2. There were other guys I was going to talk about originally in this video, but decided not to. Like, I didn't even get into Owl City. Or like Ayaz. You guys remember Ayaz? Shawty is like a melody in my head. But that's all for this video. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Sub to the channel for more. Hit the page if you want to see uncensored feet and support the channel. I've been MattCMG, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
It was a Jewish doctor.
With you right here, I must shed a tear and cry.
Don't be afraid to cry. You can still be a manly guy.
Just cry.
Let's get some pussy tonight.